Hello, and welcome to our program Where God Weeps. The church in Uganda started in the late 1800s with the arrival of Anglican and Roman Catholic missionaries. Catholicism has grown rapidly to the point where today the Catholic Church numbers 12 million out of a total population of 26 million. To tell us more about the challenges and joys of the Catholic Church in Uganda, it's my pleasure and privilege to welcome His Excellency Bishop Egidio Nkaijanabwo of the Kasese Diocese in southwestern Uganda, bordering Congo. Thank you, Your Excellency, for being with us here today. Your Excellency, the church in Uganda is very young. It received the gospel in 1867. How is this young church growing?
Well, thank God it is growing. Well, the church came in 1879. The first missionaries, the Church of Uganda, Protestants, 1877, and the Catholic missionaries arrived 1879. So it is now over 100 years, 120 years. Thank God it has grown steadily, and even now we say we are proud of the church, the condition in which it is. You say situation facing the church, well, it's not a threat at all. There's freedom of worship. The church has grown from the day it was persecuted, but now it is flourishing. That means when you come, you see people are going to church. On Sundays, the churches are full, and people are interested in religion. So that is an encouragement to us, the priests who are preaching, who are evangelizing. So pride to the missionaries who started the church there. They are happy to see that it has borne fruit. Their efforts have borne fruit.
Is the church, are foreign missionaries still very present, or is the church now able to stand more and more on its own legs?
The missionaries are becoming fewer and fewer. First of all, they don't have so many in their home countries. In my diocese, for example, I had the missionaries of Africa, White Fathers. The last ones left me 3 years ago. They felt they had to regroup. So now I have no foreign missionaries. Although I have local missionaries, the Apostles of Jesus, there are 4 of them. I have also some priests from the Congo, our neighboring diocese. They speak the same language, the people there. So because I still have a few priests, too few priests, I need some missionaries, kind of missionaries coming. But the foreign missionaries in Uganda, they still exist, they are still there. In the north, you have mainly the Italian Comboni missionaries. In the east, you still have missionaries of Mill Hill, missionaries who are mainly, it was a congregation started by the English, Cardinal Vaughan, it's international. And in our area, it was the White Fathers Missionaries of Africa. So there are very few left. In the Kampala area, they have about 3-4 houses. In Mbarara neighboring diocese, they still have only 1 house there. So the missionaries are fewer and fewer.
Let's look at the word map. Here we want to see how many people have already been infected by HIV/AIDS. Who can read for me? Who can read for me? Yes? 40 million in the whole world. Is that a small number? No. 1.79 million. Let's move to the Western Europe. 540,000. Africa. 2.31. Which one is the leading continent there? Yes? Africa.
Statistics on Africa paint a bleak picture of over 34 million dead in all age groups since HIV-AIDS was diagnosed in 1982. This includes children and young people under 18 years of age. It costs $200 a year to treat an adult, but even so, only a few can afford it. Centres like TASO, the AIDS support organisation based in Uganda, bring aid to AIDS victims.
We have people who have come here and they have been tested
for HIV antibodies and are found HIV positive. And if they accept to come, we also counsel them how to use the medicine, because they also get the medical services from here. And we also counsel them to have a plan for their futures, because most times when people have been pronounced HIV positive, they tend to fear. And sometimes, as a result, they die because of the stress that they have and the loss of hope. But we encourage them to have the hope for the future.
TASO also helps children whose parents suffer from AIDS, providing daily care and food.
The idea for that play center for the children was to help the children stay away from the parents, because it's really traumatizing to see the parent lying up, struggle, lying down, is sick, and the children are seeing the suffering the parents is going through. So it was thought that it would be better for them to play away from the parents. They go to that center, they eat, they take their food, and at least they are not left close to the parents. But sometimes some of those children are also HIV infected.
Children get infection when their parents are positive, and more so when their mothers are positive. So a child can get HIV while still in the womb, and most of them get it during the time of delivery, because at that time there is a lot of blood mixing. So most children, actually about 60%, get HIV at the time of delivery. And then there is a big number, especially in developing countries, get it through breastfeeding, about 15%. So most of our children actually in Uganda have got HIV from their parents, and they've grown with this condition.
It is difficult to estimate how many children in Uganda are infected by the HIV virus. What is, however, certain is that they have become the greatest victims of this epidemic. The death of their nearest and dearest, parents, grandparents, often signalling an abrupt end to an all too short childhood.
The children, the orphans, that was our time bomb. Me alone, I have 40 children. I earn almost $2,000 per month. But these 40 children are still a burden, a stress to me, who earns money. What about the poor woman and old man in the village who cannot even earn $1? How do they look after all these orphans? So that is our next challenge. But if each family in Uganda only took one child, that problem would not be there. But because sometimes the conditions are hard enough, it is not possible. So you find children crowding 40, 30 in one home, like the one I'm undertaking. It can be stressful, but we believe that we will get there.
Poverty is a tremendous problem also in Uganda. How does poverty manifest itself? What is the situation in Uganda with regard to poverty?
So poverty is there, but when you come to the town, you'll see that some people have money. Some big skyscrapers are going up. Some people have put up very beautiful houses. At the same time, in the villages, some are poor. They are not able, for example, to pay school fees for their children to get education. The government, fortunately, has started universal primary education for the children up to primary 7. So many, maybe 80 or more % of the children are going to school. But after that, for secondary school, we pay. And many parents cannot afford the fees. So you see it there, that they are not able to raise enough money to pay fees, school fees for their children. You can say that in Kampala you may find a lot of people, young people, with no jobs at all. Maybe if they are lucky to get 1 meal a day, so people are not eating well. That means, I would say, the majority of the people still feel that poverty. Yeah. Although a few people who have good jobs are getting money and they are well off.
The church's response has been schooling. What is the importance of education in this regard? And why is this such a focus of the church?
Right from the beginning, the missionaries, it was part of their program. They catechumenate people. They brought them together, taught them reading and writing, even those who would not go to school. Then they started schools because, well, we are working for integral development. Already at the beginning, the missionaries saw that. So they started schools. Also, through schools, they thought that was a very good way of evangelization. Then you can have young people. First of all, if they can read and write, they will surely be educated, and I think the faith will grow better with education. So the church from the beginning built schools. And you find that most of the schools up to now were founded by missionaries.
And supported uniquely by the church.
They were supported uniquely by the church at the beginning, but now, 1964, government took over the school, the administration of schools. That means they were paying teachers, even before they were paying teachers. The church had the administration, management of it. So they could hire, recruit teachers and discipline them if there was something. But since 1964, government now is in charge of administration. They pay the teachers. We have to follow government policy. That has brought in a bit of a lack of discipline.
I was going to say, has this created problems for them?
It has created problems in the sense that the church as such had no power over the teachers, except through goodwill. I mean, we talk to them, the teachers are good, but you have no power over them. So the teaching of religion also went a bit down. The government is allowing teaching of religion in schools. And we have common syllabus, religious syllabus. Let's say Church of Uganda, Protestants, Catholics, we have the same textbooks of religion. So we teach religions allowed in schools. But because we are not fully in charge, that has had some negative influence on that.
I want to address another question, confronting Uganda, which has been a success story in many regards, which has been the work of the Ugandan government and the churches with regard to HIV-AIDS. Uganda has been a remarkable story. Can you tell us a little bit about the program in Uganda and why it has been such a success?
Yes, HIV-AIDS story. Uganda has been praised because from the beginning, well, at least our president, the present President Museveni, who is there now, when he came in, he started being open about it. You know, there's so much stigma on AIDS. People do not talk about it. When you have it, you don't speak. But he started openly talking about it, educating the masses. How does AIDS, how does one get infected, and the treatment of it. So openly, and the church came in. We are helping together with the government.
He invited the churches in?
Well, we already are concerned about it, so they do not need to invite us. But we joined hands, and so openly we told the people about AIDS. And that reduced it. Especially we are stressing abstinence.
There's the so-called ABC project.
Yes.
Abstinence.
Abstinence, be faithful.
Be faithful.
Yes. So when we church came in, we stressed that, abstinence. So teaching the value of sex and so on, and marriage. Be faithful to when you're married. Before you are married, wait. And so we encouraged that. We talked a lot about it. Well, the government officially added
C.
The C, that's condom. But they know that we are against, especially the Catholic Church. The other churches not so, but we, the Catholic Church, are against that. They know that.
In fact, the government, Museveni, came to the church, I think recently, trying to encourage the church to accept C, and the church refused it again, saying this is not part of our policy.
No, we refuse. They know this is our policy, because you see, you might preach condom, but that you are spreading also, what do you call that, liberalism and freedom, and that may encourage young people to go into that. because sometimes they give free condoms. So if you give free, young people will try them. I mean, so we think that spoils young people. While we stress, you see, if you say abstain, and with the other hand you give the condom, I mean, you are not serious with saying abstain. So we try to preach that, and I think let's say the rate of infection has fallen, as they tell us now, from
I think it's 15% down to now what is 6%?
About 6%. Now, I don't know if research was made exactly what reduced that. Was it the condom or the stressing abstinence? Well, I think.
Uganda became one of the first African countries to record a fall in the number of infections.
Uganda is the only country where people talk so openly about HIV-AIDS and sex. And also in the church, we had what we call love carefully and love faithfully. Every stakeholder was involved. The church, the faith-based organizations, the government, the civil society, the different arms of government.
We must influence the understanding of the population, but that this is not the end, because spread of infection does not stop. The maintenance, the adherence to treatment is not easy. So therefore, more and more advocacy and mobilization of society must continue. The young people who are coming at a time when the epidemic is low need more support for them to be aware of the epidemic, even as the numbers of infected people are reduced. Therefore, we need to keep on the alert and to keep the fight up.
We looked at AIDS as a social, economic, and political problem. We also saw it as a development problem. And so therefore, every ministry had to develop a program for fighting HIV-AIDS. In my ministry, for example, you will find that the youth have a program for fighting HIV-AIDS through the National Council for Youth. The women have a program for fighting HIV-AIDS through the National Council for Women. The workers have a program for fighting HIV-AIDS at the workplace. And we also interact with the children through the schools. Even the people with disability have a program for fighting HIV-AIDS.
Our recent survey has shown that we are now at 6.4%, which is good. But our problem now is with the coming on the market of drugs, ARVs, people possibly being complacent, and that this is a chronic disease you can live with, like high blood pressure and diabetes and so on. So we have to carry on. People might slow down on the campaigns, the interventions, and then we get an upsurge of the problem. Our target is to have 0%.
You abstain so that you avoid AIDS, because AIDS is spreading at a very fast rate. So we have to do our best to try to make sure that we cut down the number of AIDS victims. Abstinence is the best method for avoiding AIDS, because condoms are not so good. They are not 100% secure like abstinence. With abstinence, you're sure there is nothing that is going to bother your life. But with condoms, you can never be sure.
Abstinence is best for my life because it protects me from getting the HIV virus. And of course, it also, when you abstain and you know that you're a virgin, you feel proud of yourself. You know that I kept my purity, and I'll always be that until I find that rightful person that I'm going to spend my life with.
In speaking about the catechization, the need for catechization, the thin roots of Catholics and Christians in Uganda has opened a door for the introduction of many personality-based churches to enter in, and many Catholics are being attracted to these churches. Can you tell us about this phenomenon?
Yes, I would say that is another threat, you would say, to the church. In fact, the established churches are worried about it, not only we Catholics, but the Church of Uganda, that's the main Protestant church, and the Orthodox. They are also worried because these new churches are coming in, sects, or these new churches, Pentecostal churches. They are a threat in the sense they are popular. When they come in, they have money. It seems most Pentecostals come from America, I think. They have money, so they are able to help the people whom they poor to come to them.
So they
help the poor.
They use money as a means of attracting.
As a means, one means of attracting. They use good live liturgy. There is a lot of singing and guitars and drums. Although we are countering this by also having live music with also music and instruments, musical instruments, and the catechetical renewal movement, charismatic.
Yes.
Charismatic renewal movement is taking root, it's strong, getting strong. So our liturgy is also lively, so they have no reason to go to those people because they see we can also be lively and active. But they have been attracting them because at the beginning because of that music, and they help a lot to the poor.
What is the threat or the danger for a poor person who would go to a church like this?
Well, the danger is there because he's poor. He goes, they are helping him. And also they are stressing much about healing. You hear them healing on the radio. You see,
miraculous healings or?
Well, they say they're miraculous heal, but you see, you hear them say, you touch your radio. People are listening on the radio. Touch the radio, you'll be healed. And people go a long distance to come to be healed by such a pastor. I don't know whether they are really healed or something. But that also has attracted people. Because they tell them, you come, you'll be healed of all your diseases. Which I don't think that is the truth. Is it true that Jesus did not heal everybody when he was here? And I think he gave them a sign sometimes, signs to show his presence of the kingdom. But you can't take that as Christianity to be a healing religion, that if you are not healed, then God does not love you. That, no. But people are attracted by that. We also have some of this new charismatic renewal movement also does healing session. So they were attracted by all these healings, money, music, lively liturgy. And I would say, yes, because of this money, they show that they care about the poor. We are also spending, we have a lot of programs to help the poor, but these, maybe they show it a bit better, I don't know.
Your Excellency, can you tell us a little bit, what are the priorities of the Bishops' Conference today for Uganda and the hopes for the future?
Well, the program is looking after these threats which are facing us. So we have to stress catechization. Schools, we have made now a new program of education, which is funded by European donors, especially Italian Episcopal Conference has given us some funds to establish a new policy of education, to go more into education. Because that's where the people are, our young people in schools, universities, post-secondary education. So we have made a new policy, and we are now establishing these programs and structures. So through education, through our pastoral centers, we are trying to strengthen these institutions so that we can reach our people, because we see that they are not well instructed in their faith. That's why they were able to go easily to these churches and sects.
Aid to the Church in Need has supported the Church in Uganda for many years.
For many years, yes.
What is the importance of this help?
Oh, wonderful. I mean, Church in Need, we know it. Kishin, not, we know it. And in my diocese, I've been helped many times, many projects. Even now, I think they have a project of mine. So they have helped because we have depended so much. As we said that the church and the people are still poor, we cannot carry out these programs without outside aid. Even this education program we are starting is funded from outside. Our churches, most of the churches, churches which are built in permanent materials, most of them are built with aid from outside, from Missio, Church in Need, and other organization, Missio. So they are built through the aid. And other programs, even family programs which we may have, microfinance programs to help the poor. They can borrow money, they can't go to the banks. So we have, all these are funded from outside. So that's why we still need outside help very much.
What would be your appeal, what would be your call to benefactors in the Universal Church for Uganda?
Not forget us. When they hear that we are progressing, people are praying, they go to churches, but still remember that people on the whole are still poor. If the donors cut off their aid today, tomorrow, you would see the consequences. And you know, people, you cannot even catechize them, preach them when they are hungry, they will be sleeping, they will be falling asleep. So the appeal is we still need a lot of their help. I know these days they also have the problem, they say they have less money. In Germany, they say when the unification with the Eastern has reduced their income, that some Catholics no longer go to church because they don't want their money to be taken by government. We know, they also tell us they have their problem. But still they are helping us a lot. And Germany is doing very well, helping us.
Your Excellency, thank you for having been with us today.
Yes, it's been a joy, pleasure to speak to you, and to make our church known, to our appeal known to our outside benefactors and helpers and well-wishers and friends, who are many.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having been with us here on our program today. And if you'd like to know more about the situation of Catholics in Uganda, or even how you might be able to help the Catholics in Uganda, I would ask you to look at the contact information at the end of this program. And I look forward to seeing you next time on Where God Weeps.